associative array?
I didn't hear just now. I didn't hear it. Can you repeat, ma'am?
Okay, his doubt is where we should use dynamic array and where we should use associative array, and what is the difference?
One minute. I'm just connecting the headphone. Just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute, please.
Okay. Your first out is that I'm writing class. New.
Ma'am, I think I need to rejoin the Zoom because
Okay.
the audio. I'll just rejoin.
Yes, no problem. Yes. So your question is like this: you are passing some values through the new function, but you are not assigning to them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then what will happen? This it will get, like you are simple calling the new function means it will get the memory allocation. Okay, but whatever the values, you are not passing any values, so by default whatever the value, it will take those values. We will see.
Default value of the value of the variable.
What will be the default value? Memory will be assigned. So now what is the value? By default, whatever the value, those values will be there. So module TB my class object 1, then initial object 1 equal to new. As you are passing their argument, so here also you have to pass some values. If you are not passing, it will give you compilation error.
Ma'am, in that new 10,20 means here it will allocate fixed size memory, means 10, 20.
How it will allocate? Have you written any code for it?
No.
Then why it should allocate? Why I am passing this? Because here I have explicitly defined the constructor. So when I am explicitly defining, so it will go and call that constructor. Now, whatever the prototype here you are giving, same prototype here you have to provide also. Else it will give you compilation error. We will see that also. Okay.
No, ma'am. I was telling the new 10,20 means new command usually allocate memory, na ma'am.
Yeah, new command allocate. Here it will allocate memory.
10,20 means here it will allocate memory of 10,20 size.
See, why we are writing 10,20? 10,20 is normally what we do here. We write variable this dot variable 1 equal to variable 1. Next, this dot variable 2 equal to variable 2. So that means whenever I am passing 10 and 20, this dot variable 1 means this variable 1 will be assigned to variable 1. So here I am passing 10. So this variable 1 will be assigned to 10 and this variable 1 will be assigned to 20. So that means I am passing some values. Here I am not giving them memory size. It is the value I am assigning them. So now if I am not writing anything, so how it is going to, even if I am passing those things, how tool will know that I should assign this? I have not written any code for it, right? But by default, as I am calling the new function, so it will allocate the memory. Okay.
I'm sorry, a little bit joined late. So yeah, what is it about the question, ma'am? Can I know?
Okay, now here, first of all, here his doubt was that I am writing a function like this, constructor. I am passing argument, but I am not assigning them here. Then what will happen? So whenever I am calling the new function, as I have written explicitly new function, whatever the prototype here I am giving, same here also I have to provide. So I have provided 10 and 20 here, but inside this function, I have not written any logic to assign the values here. So it will, memory will get allocated, but the values will be still 0. Why? Because I have not written any kind of code. Next, his doubt is what is the difference between dynamic array and associative array? Where we should use dynamic and where we should use associative array.
Okay, so that dynamic and associative are more or less like same actually, except that the index value is not numerical in the case of associative array. You can give a string value and save the data.
Okay.
You can give you can associate a index instead of a index numerical index. You can give a string value to associate one to store the data actually. So for example,
yes, tell me.
Yeah, please proceed.
Okay, let me explain again. Okay, so whenever someone is asking you dynamic array and associative array, first what is dynamic array and what is associative array? Okay, so as the name indicates, dynamic array means during the runtime, we can assign memory or we can change memory size. It's up to us. Okay, now what is the, so now dynamic array has some disadvantages or limitations. That's why we are moving to associative array. So in associative array, memory is assigned whenever a value is stored. So first, this is the two difference. Okay, so first dynamic array, let I am declaring one dynamic array. Byte array. Here, if I'm keeping this blank means it is the dynamic array. So whenever I am writing array equal to new 10, so at this moment, 10 memory get allocated. 10 memory size get allocated. Whether I use it or don't use it, but still at this point of time, memory got allocated to my array, dynamic array. But in associative array, what happens? Let I declare one array byte array. So if I am giving star here means it is a associative array. So what this star indicates, you can take any data type as your index. In dynamic array, index is only integer. This is also one difference. Index is integer. But in associative array, index can be any data type. Let you want that my index should be string data type only, then here you have to write string. Okay, so now here I have declared the array. So here no memory get allocated. In associative array, there is no new function. Now I want to store a value in the array. So I will be writing, let this is array 1. So here I will be writing array 1. Let I am taking a string as my index, some date equal to let 2021. So at this point of time only memory will get allocated. Okay. So in associative array, there is no chance of memory wastage because whenever I am using that array, whenever I am allocating, like I am writing something into that array, at that time only memory will get allocated. Okay. And another difference, in dynamic array, I can have index as only integer, but here I can have index as any data type as my index. Okay. So next, what is the difference? In dynamic array, hello?
Yeah, this one, dynamic array is a little bit slower, right? Slower than the dynamic array. Associative array is slower.
Associative array is slower, dynamic array is faster. Okay, I will tell that again. Okay, so now here next difference is that. Okay, so dynamic array. Okay, so in dynamic array, what happens? All the indexes, like whatever the values you are storing, it will get stored sequentially. First 0 index, then 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, like this. Okay, so data are stored sequentially, or you can say addresses are sequential. Okay, but here data gets stored in a sparse matrix. Sparse matrix means that address is not continuous. Here, if I'm writing a for loop for I equal to 0, I less than 1, I equal to I plus 1, address array of I equal to data, it will work because it will be keep on checking continuously, sequentially. But in associative array, that will not work. This is my memory. Okay. So if I'm writing in a dynamic array, so first this memory, please all of you mute your system. Okay. So first this memory, then this memory, then this memory, then this memory, like this data will get stored. But in associative array, we have no idea how data will get stored. Maybe data will first get stored here. then maybe after some place here, then maybe after some place here. So here I'm writing new 10 means that this 10 memory will be allocated, whether I use it or no, don't use it. But here only this thing will get allocated. Okay, so memory wastage is less. Now the question is where we should use dynamic array, where we should use associative array. Okay, so first of all, if I don't know my data size, okay, then which array I should use?
Associative, ma'am.
Associative array, because dynamic array, again I have to write this new command, but I don't know how many data I am going to store. So if don't know data size is big and not known, then go for dynamic array, sorry, associative array. Now let you want to store index string as your index. There is one AXI protocol. In that AXI protocol, whenever we are sending any value, with respect to that we send one ID. Now that ID value may be a string. So how am I going to store these things? With respect to string, that ID, I have to store the values. So at that point of time, I need associative array. So next is your index is other data type, then integer. At this point of time, I have to go for associative array. Okay. Now next question, let your data size is big and also not known, and you want to access the whole database. Let your database is 4 GB, somehow approximately 4 GB, and you want to access all the data. You want to access all the address. Then go for dynamic array. Why? Because in dynamic array, addresses will be accessed through a sequential manner. But in associative array, first it will check where the data is present in that index, whether the data is present or not. So at that time, associative array will become slower. Now just look into here. Okay, let I want to check from here to here all the values. Simple, I can use dynamic array. Dynamic array will start from here, then here, then here, then here, up to here. So it won't has any problem. But let I am checking associative array. First it will search as which index my data is present. Okay, first at this index, then at this index, then at this index. Now just to access 3 data, it will take much more time than here dynamic array. Dynamic array, it can easily access these 3 data. But in associative array, first here, then here, then here, it have to check, then it have to access. So in associative array, whenever you are going to access all the memories, go for dynamic array. If you want to access some part of the memory, data size is big and not known, and you want to take any other string data index as string, then go for associative array. Understood your doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is normal.
Sure, yeah.
In the interview, they ask these questions. Dynamic array and associative array, whether in your project you have used any associative array, this kind of questions. Okay. So now, okay, yesterday class, we have completed class concept, then constructor, then this pointer. Any other thing I have covered yesterday class? Static data
Extern
type.
keyword. Yeah.
Okay, which keyword? Extern. Yes,
Extern.
yes, extern keyword, and this pointer. Okay. See, whatever I have completed yesterday with this means these things are basic. Whenever you are going to write any code with respect to class, then these things you should know. If you don't know constructor, how to use constructor, you cannot use a class. Then this pointer, static data type, all these things are required. Okay. Next thing is, okay, how to copying object. In SystemVerilog, you have to write your own code to copy the object. Okay, let I want to copy from object 1 to object 2 all the values. Then I have to write my own code. But when I move to UVM, their inbuilt method are there. So I have to know how to use those inbuilt method. Okay, so in SystemVerilog, there are 3 types of copying method. Okay, one is, okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay, so copying the object means first one will be class assignment. Then next is shallow copy. And next is deep copy. In UVM, we have this deep copy concept. So what is class assignment, shallow copy? What are the demerits? So what I am moving to deep copy. Okay. We'll see one by one. So here syntax is important. Okay. Here I'm writing just syntax point of view. Okay. So if I'm simple writing class assignment, that means I'm writing object 1 equal to object 2. Class assignment. If I'm using shallow copy, then the syntax will be object 1 equal to new object 2. Okay. If I'm writing deep copy, then I'll be writing object 1 equal to object copy. Sorry. Okay. Here, okay, let it. Okay, copy object. Okay. So now what are the difference between these three things? We will discuss one by one. Okay. So now I am taking two class. Now function display. Here display. Here I want to pass the object name as an argument. Okay. So that I can know in which object the values are getting changed. So here string name. So $display name equal to %s, then variable 1 equal to %d, variable 2 equal to %d, then comma name variable 1, variable 2, then end class. Now I am creating two objects for the class. One is object 1, another is object 2. Okay.
End function will be there also. In line number 5.
Correct. Okay. Now here I have created one object 1 equal to new. Then I have assigned some value that object 1 equal to object 1 dot variable 1 equal to 10, object 1 dot variable 2 equal to 20. Okay, so next what I'm doing, whatever the values I'm assigning to object 1, there may be a requirement that I am just copying object 1 values to object 2. So where these things required, let you have generated some sequences, okay, to test. Okay, now whatever the sequences you have generated, just you want to change 2 or 3 values in that sequence. Let you have 20 variable. From 20 variable, all the variables should be constant, only 2 variable value I need to change. So at that time, I need to copy from sequence 1 to sequence 2. After copying, I need to change the values. That is my requirement. So now I have to copy this thing. So simple, I can write object 1, object 2 is equal to object 1 dot new. Okay, now here I will check what is the value in object 1 and what is the value in object 2. Object 1 dot display. So here string I am passing object 1. Then object 2 dot display. Here I am passing object 2. Now what is my requirement? After copying, I have to change the values also. So here I have to write, I just want to change the variable 2 value. So object 2 dot variable 2 equal to, I am giving it 30. So $display after changing. Okay. So you understood my requirement in whatever I'm doing here?
The requirement is for all the things it is not changing, only for 2 variable it is changing.
My requirement is that I have one object. Okay, inside the object 2, in practical cases I am explaining. Okay, object 1 means you have generated one sequence to test your design. Now in the second case, you need exact same sequence, but only 2 values should be changed. So instead of writing all the things again, you can simply copy it from the sequence 1. or I can copy the object 2 from object 1, and then I can change the variable 2 values. So here I have copied. This type of copy is known as class assignment. So here I have done the copy, like object 1 value I am assigning to object 2. Okay, so here I have done the copy. Then I have changed here object 2 variable 2 values. So I need to check what is happening. Okay. String where test bench 4. Sorry. This is string name. String is my data type. Name is the name, like variable name. Okay. Okay. Now you see first object 1 is created with variable 1 equal to 10, variable 2 equal to 20. Okay. For object 2, have I used any new function?
No.
No. But how this memory is getting created? Because here I have done the class assignment. So here for object 2, memory will get created and all the values from object 1 will get assigned. These things are happening here. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood first part, both of you?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Internally what is happening is that the entire pointers are getting copied or what? Like,
entire thing is copied. Whatever is
okay.
there, okay, in the variable object 1, everything will be copied to object 2. Okay.
So
okay.
it is like two separate memory locations.
That I will be explaining next. Okay. So next what I have done, okay. For object 2, I have assigned the value 30. So now after this code, what will be the object 1 variable 2 value and object 2 variable 1 variable 2 value? You just go into the code and whatever you are understanding, let me know.